Hello and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga match day 18 after midweek games with Dortmund falling and I would say it was a shameful game in Kiel losing. We are back with Ronan Murphy. I've asked you this question so many times already, but is 𝐿𝐴𝐴 gonna stay in Dortmund? Because right now Borussia Dortmund is 10th in the standings.
Yeah, after that 4-2 defeat to Kiel, he called it an absolute non-performance and said, it's my responsibility. It's absolutely shameful. But Lars Ricken, who's the manager or director of sport or whatever, the closest director of football or something that they have at Borussia Dortmund, he blamed the players. He said the coaches prepared the team outstandingly well, emotionally and tactically. And we're not having a discussion about the coach. And you're wondering, why aren't you having a discussion about the coach? But there are discussions in German media. Bild have linked Sandro Wagner, the former Bayern Munich striker and current assistant manager of Germany, to the job. And Erik ten Hag was over at Westfalenstadion in Dortmund last week getting a tour, which is meant to be unconnected, but we'll see what happens there.
Well, the season has been really, really poor for Dortmund, and the first half, especially in Kiel, was shameful completely, with a great atmosphere, by the way. I saw the stadium covered in fog or in flames almost, with the supporters really happy. Of course, was a historic win. And Leipzig also losing, by the way, as official mastermind is telling us. So, guys, let's go with the show. Remember to press the like, subscribe. Come on. Go. And if you are in crisis, I guess you don't want to visit Frankfurt to bounce back on Friday. What a game this one, Eintracht Frankfurt, Borussia Dortmund. We had Frankfurt beating, coming back against Freiburg 4-1, as Ronan said, and Marmoush still playing and still scoring in that game, 8 points away from Borussia Dortmund. What else to say about the yellow team? It's only one win in the last 6 Bundesliga games, Ronan.
Yeah, they're on a very bad run at the moment. And like we said at the start of the show, it's hard to see 𝐵𝗔𝐴𝐴 staying around much longer if this continues, because their away form has been dismal. Their home form has been really good, but this is another away game this weekend. So prepare for Frankfurt to win and Borussia Dortmund to lose. I'm not going to definitely say that's going to happen, because obviously Omar Marmoush, every game we go into it thinking it might be his last game. He's still not joined Man City, but it's only a matter of time before that happens. And Frankfurt, when he does go, they will miss his goals. He has 15 goals in 17 games. That's obviously, as we say every week, it continues to be the best ever start of a Frankfurt striker. But at the halfway point of the season, it's clearly the best from any Frankfurt player. And 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐿 scored in that 4-1 win, like you mentioned, and he is the man that will need to step up in Marmoush's absence, and he stepped up beside Marmoush at the weekend or in the midweek game. So hopefully he can step up again this week, and especially if Marmoush is not playing in this one. So keeping an eye on the lineup, and he should start anyway. But if he's the sole attacking kind of option for Frankfurt, he looks a great option as an anytime goal scorer. 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐿, anytime score 2.95, because obviously Omar Marmoush is still getting all the attention from the bookmakers at the moment. But once he's gone, they'll have to look for somewhere else. Dortmund, on the other hand, they're diabolical at the moment. Some of the ultras kind of climbed over the fence at the end of that match. They called the players over to tell them exactly what they thought of the players. I'm sure there was plenty of foul language used by the Dortmund fans, but the players involved, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, Kahn, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, Anton, they stayed around and listened to what they had to say. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏 said that afterwards he was asked what he had said to them, and he said he apologized for the performances, but apologies aren't good enough. They have to get some results, and they have to get positive performances away from home. They just haven't been doing that. Frankfurt, on the other hand, they're the 5th best team at home on home form, and Dortmund are 13th in the away table. So Frankfurt, both teams to score looks a good option. They're both teams to score, yes, in their last 3 games. Dortmund cannot keep clean sheets, so it seems unlikely to happen here. Average goals in between the two teams are 2.4 for Frankfurt and 1.9 for Borussia Dortmund. So I think another good option here because both teams score. Yes, it looks a bit low. A better option is probably total goals over 3.25 at 205.
Well, great game to start the week. Dortmund should not put up a fight with Frankfurt. They should just give the points to Frankfurt. I guess at one point they are going to show some pride and compete. I think Dortmund deserves a chance. It was a funny goal, the last one scored by Kiel, with the goalkeeper going to the other box and then got caught in the counter attack. It was again a pitiful performance, especially in the first half. Much better the rivals Bayern Munich thrashing Hoffenheim. Harry Kane scored another goal from the penalty spot. So 3 consecutive wins for Bayern Munich since the defeat against Mainz, in a good position, of course, and this shouldn't be an easy one because Wolfsburg are in great form, very close to the European spots, and they got the flashy result of the week, not the weekend, of the week, thrashing Gladbach 5-1.
Yeah, it's hard not to say the weekend, because we're so used to not having midweek games in the Bundesliga. This is a English, or 𝗲𝗏𝗏 as they call it in Germany, an English week where they have games on midweek and the weekend. It's an unusual affair for the Bundesliga, but it kind of happens around this time every year to give them a chance to get a couple of weeks off at Christmas and over New Year's, which I suppose the English leagues don't get. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Harry Kane can continue scoring from the penalty spot for Bayern. He now has 12 penalties scored from 12 penalties taken. That's the third best 100% record in Bundesliga history. You have to go way back to a Bochum striker from the 70s and 80s to find the record at 16. So Harry Kane needs to score 4 or 5 more penalties more this season. So keeping an eye on Bayern getting penalties. It seems to be a common one, but I'm not going to say it's definitely going to happen in this one. I like the fact that Bayern also got goals from elsewhere. Leroy Sané scored twice, like you said. Serge Gnabry, he's back from injury. He came off the bench to score as well. Matthias Tell, who's been linked with a move to Chelsea, he's got 2 assists in this game. So this Bayern team are firing on all cylinders, and they're undefeated at home in the Bundesliga. And Vincent Kompany will be looking to continue that and continue Bayern Munich's solid record against Wolfsburg, because over the last 8 years, Wolfsburg have never beaten Bayern Munich. Bayern have won 13 times, and there's only been 1 draw in the last 14 meetings. So Bayern tend to win this match, and I think they're going to win it again. Most common result is 2-0. So I like the look of a correct score 2-0 in this one, 8.75. I'm going to predict some even bigger correct scores later on, but I like the look of that one. So Bayern, they're now conceding less than a goal a game, and that's thanks to the defence being much more solid under Kompany and Neuer being very good, and Wolfsburg conceding on average 1.7 goals per game, so 2-0 seems about right. Home looks a good option as well in this one, 162, but I'm going to double down after last week or earlier this week, I should say. Again, we had Bayern Munich to keep clean sheet and Bayern Munich to win 0, and that came true. So I'm going to go for the exact same one again, Bayern Munich to win 0, because they keep doing it.
Well, we have another ideas here. Someone saying both teams to score. George, after saying that you are the best tipster, he disagrees with you. So next week we can check who was right, if Wolfsburg was able or not to score at the Allianz.
Maybe George will be sitting in this seat next week instead of me. He can give the tips.
Who knows? Everything is possible. Next game, Heidenheim, St. Pauli, massive game. This one for the relegation. Heidenheim level on points with Hoffenheim and out of the bottom 3 after drawing with Werder Bremen in the very last minute and also beating Union Berlin 2-0. St. Pauli with the same points lost to Bochum and Frankfurt recently. Last 4 games for St. Pauli, both teams to score? No, which is an oddity in this competition.
It sure is, and it's one of the tips that I've written down for this match. Both teams to score, no. But yeah, these are 2 teams that are not necessarily the best, the most attacking or the most exciting or thrilling teams, but they can often play interesting matches. But St. Pauli, they tend to play better matches at at away than home. They've only scored 3 home goals, but luckily for them, this is an away match. But they haven't scored in their last 2 games, and both teams are kind of level in the table as being poor at the moment. Heidenheim moved out of the relegation zone thanks to that comeback draw against Bremen, but both teams are on 14 points with Hoffenheim. Pauli are only ahead because their goal difference is -9, but their goal difference is -9 because they're not conceding as many as the teams around them. Not that they're scoring anymore. They've only 21 goals conceded this year, whereas Heidenheim have conceded 36 goals in the Bundesliga this season. So, yeah, St. Pauli don't tend to play hugely high-scoring matches, so both teams to score no looks a good option. 2-12 in this one, so it could be another both teams to score no. And Heidenheim, they beat Union Berlin 2-0 in their last home game, so that was a both teams to score no game as well. But my main tip is Heidenheim Asian handicap 0 because St. Pauli they don't look good in a lot of games, and Heidenheim, I think they have a better chance of maybe scoring a goal or two. So Heidenheim Asian handicap 0 is my main tip.
Getting out finally Heidenheim from the bottom 3 after a really bad run, but it looks like they are back on track. And another massive game for the relegation is Holstein Kiel. Hoffenheim. Kiel now can see the light at the end of the tunnel, only 3 points away from Hoffenheim. Still favorites for this game, still in danger because the third defeat in a row, lost to Bayern and Wolfsburg without scoring a single game. And as I said before, Kiel had the dreamed evening the other day, probably the best game so far since they are in the Bundesliga, Ronan.
Yeah, well, you were mentioned the smoke in the ground. The game had to be stopped a couple of times because the players couldn't see. It was that sort of a match. So hopefully a similar atmosphere on Saturday if Hoffenheim come to town. Obviously, Hoffenheim don't have traditionally the same passionate away fan base as Borussia Dortmund. I'm not sure there's enough Hoffenheim fans around the world to pull me up on that one, but yeah, to disagree there. But yeah, Borussia Dortmund are known for having their passionate fans, and Kiel, obviously, they are a welcome return to the Bundesliga, or welcome inclusion in the Bundesliga, I should say. And their fans are making it known that they want to be here and they're enjoying being here. And Hoffenheim, at the moment, they are playing pretty poor. Oliver Baumann, he moved into the top 5 all-time Bundesliga appearance list against Bayern Munich, and he celebrated that by conceding 5 goals. So yeah, it wasn't the best kind of historic match for him. And Pavel Kaderabek is going to be suspended for Hoffenheim as well. Lewis Holtby is obviously suspended for Kiel. I think his suspension has been upgraded to 2 games after his red card in that game. So yeah, it was a 3-2 to Hoffenheim in this match earlier this season, that we can actually finally start saying what the result was in the matches earlier this season, because it's now officially the second half of the Bundesliga season. Every team has played everyone once already. So yeah, Kiel have both teams to score in their last 4 games, and Hoffenheim have gone back-to-back games without scoring. So it looks like Hoffenheim are on a terrible run. And after the match, Kramaric gave an interview to ESPN in America, and he said they were having a poop season, or the stronger version, but it's early in the day, so there might be some younger viewers listening, so I won't say that what he actually said, but they're having a terrible season. They haven't won since November when they beat Leipzig 4-3. They've played 9 competitive games since then. They haven't won any of them, and that win over Leipzig was Christian Ilzer's. It was his first game in charge of Hoffenheim after replacing Pellegrino Matarazzo. But you kind of wonder, do they need a new head coach again? Will they change managers twice in the one season? Because the new man just hasn't got the grips with things. They look terrible. Kiel, they'd move above Hoffenheim in the table with a 2-0 win. So this is the one where I'm going for the biggest tip of all. Correct score, 2-0 to Kiel. 18 will go for this one. But a bit safer as the main one is Kiel Asian handicap plus a quarter. And I haven't written down what the odds on that one were, but thankfully our excellent producer Daniel has a check for us, and it's 184.
Both teams to score for Jay, and George is telling us that they Hoffenheim. Kudos to Daniel that they look a 6th division team, Hoffenheim, against Bayern Munich. No corners, only 1 shot, and they were very poor. They've been very poor for many weeks, actually. Next one, Stuttgart, Freiburg. Stuttgart now very close to the Champions League spots. They are fifth after beating Leipzig, coming back, also beat Augsburg in the first game of 2025. And Freiburg took the lead against Frankfurt, but they ended up losing 4-1. Ronan, plenty of goals, perhaps, in this game?
Yeah, this is what I'm looking at for plenty of goals. It seems to be a match where teams score plenty of goals, and if you look at the meetings between the two sides, there tends to be lots of goals in them. It was 3-1 to Freiburg in the match earlier this season in Freiburg, and then last season Stuttgart won 5-0 at home and 3-1 away. So there's been 4 or more goals in the last 3 meetings between these two sides over the last 2 seasons. So hopefully more of the same here. If you look at the stats, the over 3.5 goals is 54% of the time for Stuttgart and 55% of the time for Freiburg, and over 2.5 goals is 69% of the time for Stuttgart and 75% of the time for Freiburg. So 3/4 of their matches end up with over 2.5 goals in them. So that's why I really like to look up total goals over 3. We'll meet in the middle and go for total goals over 3. Looks like a good option there. But like I usually say, if you are betting on a total goals at an exact number, make sure that if it is that exact number, you get a refund from your bookmaker and you haven't lost your money, because I know it's happened to some of our followers in the past, and we definitely don't want that to happen to them again. And the key man I see for in this match is Dennis Undav. He's now has 6 goals this season. I think he's going to add a 7th here. He's been excellent in his first 2 games back. He came off the bench to score. Just only took a few minutes to score in that one, and then he had an assist for Bruno Larsson's equaliser in the last Stuttgart game, and he was involved in the second goal as well. So Dennis Undav, anytime goal scorer, looks pretty tasty at over 2.
Well, actually, George is going for Undav, 1 shot on target, over 0.5 shots on target. He also likes the odds for the striker. And talking about the strikers, next game is Bochum, RB Leipzig, and 𝐿𝐴𝐵 and Openda are suspended because they were sent off in that defeat against Stuttgart. 4th in the standings, Leipzig. I guess they should get the 3 points at Bochum. The odds are great, actually, very high, 2.0 for Leipzig to win, but Bochum won the last 2 home games and now they are alive.
Yeah, I think as we see on screen, it's come down a bit to 1.77, but still pretty good. Yeah, 1.77 for Leipzig against a team who
actually are in 1xBet now on Oddspedia. I can see 2.06.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Looks pretty good. Yeah. 2.06 looks pretty good, because Bochum looked destined to get relegated.
Bet365, really good bookies, actually, really big bookies offering good money.
Yeah, so that is definitely one to keep an eye on, and it might be my spoilers, but it might be my main tip for this match for a Leipzig win. But yeah, Openda and 𝐿𝐴𝐵, like you said, they're both suspended. They both got double bookings, picked up 2nd yellow cards in the last few minutes against Stuttgart, and they're both out of this match. But I think even without them, Leipzig should win. And I know we had one of our commenters say at the start of the show that he would bet on Leipzig to lose every game for the rest of the season, but I don't think that's going to happen. I was right about them keeping it close against Stuttgart, and they kept it within the 1.5 goals. So that tip came in that match, and I think they're going to absolutely blow Bochum away, even without the 2 forwards. Xavi Simons, he got an assist in that game. He didn't score, but he can be a difference maker in every single game. Leipzig won 4-1 in this match last season. Bochum have conceded 7 goals to Frankfurt, 5 goals to Bayern, 3 goals to Hoffenheim, 3 goals to Wolfsburg, 4 to Dortmund, and even 3 to Cologne in the cup already this season. So I think Leipzig could easily score 3 goals in this one. RB Leipzig Asian handicap -3 is 40.
Wow.
Yep. To tie that in a safer one, Leipzig over 2 goals, 265, just in case Bochum do actually score. But my main tip, like we said at the start, is Leipzig to win. I can't see them not winning this one, because Bochum are diabolical. It doesn't matter who's suspended for Leipzig. Bochum are diabolical.
Well, George is not trusting Leipzig anymore, not a reliable team. He is not going to put this game in Anaka. Xavi Simons to score without Openda and 𝐿𝐴𝐵. We have left Xavi Simons. The next one, great game, Leverkusen-Gladbach, with Leverkusen still in great form. Great goal also scored by Grimaldo to beat Mainz is 7 consecutive wins for Alonso's men, and Gladbach lost heavily against Wolfsburg. 11th in the standings, poor season, same wins, same defeats this season.
Yeah, Gladbach, they got smashed by Wolfsburg, and they needed a masterclass from their keeper in the game before that to keep, against Bayern Munich, keep it 1-0. The XG prevented was astonishing, and then the goalkeeper turned around and he had the game that we're kind of maybe were expecting was due in that Bayern Munich match, but never came. But yeah, he wasn't able to keep the score down, and yeah, Gladbach were just looked diabolic in that match, and you can see why the odds on the screen say Gladbach 10 to win, because Leverkusen are just on such a brilliant run at the moment. They seem impossible to beat, and Granit Xhaka is making things tick in the midfield. There was a stat that came out from Opta that he played the most passes of any player in Europe's big 5 leagues in 2024, over 3,000 passes, 3,030 passes, 92% accuracy. So this is a team that they just dominated the ball against opponents, and even against a team like Gladbach, who are traditionally a strong team, but perhaps haven't been this season. They should dominate the ball. They should dominate chances. Leverkusen are averaging 2.5 goals per game. They won 3-2 earlier this season. I think Leverkusen can get another few goals here. Patrick Schick has been a key man. Victor Boniface isn't quite getting a look in, and Patrick Schick, he's averaging 2.59 shots on target per 90 minutes this season, as well as 4.75 shots per 90 overall. So it looks a guarantee that he's going to get over 1.5 shots on target against Gladbach. So that looks really good for me. 180. And then I'm going to go even further than that and say Leverkusen are going to get a few goals here. So Leverkusen over total goals over 2.5, exactly 2.
Well, big Bayern win for 𝗀𝗵𝗵𝗀, Leverkusen to win and both teams to score. For Konstantinos, Leverkusen to win and over 1.5 goals. Everyone is going for Leverkusen. It looks like 2024, the beginning of 2024, when Leverkusen was so reliable. Next one, Union Berlin Mainz, already on Sunday. Union Berlin really in trouble, only 2 points away from relegation. I guess they are diabolical as well. Ronan lately lost to Augsburg 2-0, 3 consecutive defeats, 3 points in the last 10 games. That's why they are so close to the relegation. And surprisingly, we have the same odds to back Mainz, a team that is doing a great season, than to back Union Berlin.
Yeah, it seems strange because Union Berlin's home ground has not been that imposing this season. It's not been kind of where teams would go and kind of be a bit shell-shocked by the atmosphere and the kind of a stepping back in time into it. But no, it has not been the fortress that we have seen in recent years. So, yeah, Mainz, the big thing for them is whether 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 will play in this match. He got injured in the previous game, and Bo Henriksen, the coach, said that he hopes to have him back very soon, but I'm not sure if very soon will actually be this weekend, this Sunday. If he's out, he is a big loss for Mainz, and it makes it harder for them to score. And as we know, it's hard for Union Berlin to score. They haven't scored in their last 2 games. They haven't won since October. 11 games without winning, 9 defeats in that time. And Mainz, they've been playing out games which are kind of low-scoring matches themselves. Their last 2 games were a 2-0 win and a 1-0 loss. And then if you look at the most common result and the last 2 results between these 2 teams, they're both 1-1s. So total goals under 2.25 looks pretty good for this one. That's exactly 2, because these teams don't play in high-scoring matches. They don't play high-scoring matches against each other. That never gets to a third goal. So, yeah, total goals under 2.25 looks pretty good. But in this one, because Union Berlin, they just cannot score at the moment. I prefer both teams to score no. Because both teams to score yes has only happened 42% of the time for Union Berlin and 53% of the time for Mainz. So less than half the time for Union Berlin, it doesn't happen. And just about half the time for Mainz, it doesn't happen. Both teams score doesn't happen. So both teams to score, no.
And Asian handicap 0 for Mainz also looks very good, or double chance, as George is suggesting. Great odds, amazing odds, I would say, to back Mainz. And the last game is Werder Bremen Augsburg, with Augsburg getting a key win in Berlin to keep some distance with the bottom three, and Werder Bremen very close to the European spots despite dropping points with Heidenheim.
Yeah, this should be an interesting match. I hope it's going to be a high scoring match, because that's what I have down. And this is one of my other big correct scores that I've done for Bremen's last 3 games. Have all been both teams to score, yes, and they've all had 5 or more total goals in them. So hoping for another big high scoring match in this one. Augsburg won their last away game 2-0, but before that it was a 5-1 defeat and 2-2 all draws. So there was a 2-2 earlier this season between these two sides. So correct score, 2-2, my last mega bet of the day. Do not put big money on these ones, obviously, because you would be mad. But yeah, correct score 2-all is 16. If you like a ridiculous bet now and then. This is 9 versus 12. So this is a team where they're kind of 2 evenly matched teams. So Augsburg maybe should be favoured a little more. Bremen are 13th in the home table and drawn half their games at home. 2 wins, 4 draws and 2 defeats at home. So Augsburg, they've 4 draws in total this season. They have 2 away draws so far this season. So Augsburg drawn all bet looks pretty good, 340. But I even like the Augsburg double chance at 211 a bit more.
This is the last game we have in this match day. You go for draw no bet. I keep it simple here. Both teams to score for George. Well, guys, this is it for this show in the Bundesliga. We had so many tips given by you, so you can win some money with Oddspedia. Go to our website, register, is for free, and you can participate in our competitions, tipster competitions, and win some prizes. You have there the people participating and the money they are making, and also rivals where you can create your own tipster competition or join a created one. There might be some competitions running right now. Well, Ronan, let's go with your safe bet.
My safe bet disagrees with one of our commenters very strongly. It's RB Leipzig Asian handicap plus a half.
Okay, and the ACCA?
My ACCA is Leipzig to win and Patrick Schick to get over 1.5 shots on target. That's a total of 360.
Well, this is it for our Bundesliga show with people praising you, Ronan, and this is not this is unusual on internet, so we can be happy. We can be happy. Thanks everyone for watching. We have the best audience, of course. Cheers. Thanks, Ronan. Thanks everyone for. Bye.